One of the best weekends of the year. It is Super Bowl weekend. We've got the Wolf of Oakmont Face Systems here. I am Gino Bucola, and we're going to get you all set up for another Santa Anita PickEm Contest. Normally, we hang out on Friday, and we'll preview whatever the Saturday PickEm Contest is. But this weekend, because Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, there are a ton of props. Actually, 10 of the 12 questions are related to the big game. And so we don't have as much racing to discuss. It just felt like this would be the one this weekend to focus in on because we've been talking Super Bowl for a couple weeks. You and I have discussed Super Bowl earlier. We're going to talk about Super Bowl later. Last night we did a big picks show, so everyone's talking Super Bowl. I figured so many people are already going to be invested and interested in this game. Why not steer them to the pick'ems for Sunday, right?
Absolutely. I mean, got to give the people what they want. And the people want the Super Bowl. It's no secret that it's not necessarily a popular day for horse racing. It's one of my favorite days to go to the track. You know why? No one's there.
Mm-hmm. And we are going to make some money in the Santa Anita Pick'em Contest. So the website, pick'em.santanita.com, totally free to sign up. Doesn't cost you a cent. You win $500 if you win. You have to answer the 12 different props we're going to go through. We're going to show you them, and we're going to share some of our analysis with them. What's great is every time you answer one, it'll immediately save it for you. It'll let you know your entry has been updated. You only get 1 point for each, so it's not – you don't have to worry about always trying to get too creative. Sometimes it's okay to chalk out, but you don't necessarily want to – be the chalk eating weasel every single time, but it doesn't hurt you. I like to repeat that because this isn't weighted based on the odds of a horse to win or the odds of a team to win or anything like that.
Yeah, it's straight up pass fail. You either hit it or you don't. There's no odds tied to it.
So don't forget, I mean, we're previewing this before the Saturday card has started. All of you that want to get involved right now, you can play on the Saturday game also for free. When you click cards right up top, it shows you what available cards they are. So if you want to jump in for Saturday, February 12th, go for it. You'll get a little bit more college basketball, some NBA stuff there in the mix. We're going to focus in on Sunday. And for Sunday, we kick off with the total yards. That's your tiebreaker here. What number were you looking at for total yards, Chase?
I mean, if you look at what these two teams averages, it's like 760, but I have a feeling that you might see just a little bit more defense on both sides. So I took that number, I adjusted it down. I broke my streak of not ending things in 5 or 0, and I went with 715.
Nice. And I'm almost similar with you, right? I just went a little bit under what I thought their average was. Maybe we get a little bit of like a feeling out process to start. But I don't think we're going to be well up over 800. I do think it is going to be sort of a two coaches that know each other really well. So I don't think anyone's going to try too hard to make a mistake. I think they're both just going to play smart, see if we can break one. So speaking of breaking, we're talking about Unbroken Star in race number 1 at Santa Anita.
I see what you did there. I get it.
That? That's why I make the big bucks. That's a transition in the biz right there. Just a little bloop on over. What place will Unbroken Star finish in Santa Anita's race 7? So we only have, I think, 1, 2, or 3 throughout the entire contest for Sunday that involve the races. What did you think about Unbroken Star in the spot in race number 7?
I think Unbroken Star is actually pretty vulnerable in this spot, especially if you look back through his previous running lines. What happens if Unbroken Star doesn't get the lead? Except for a $40,000 optional claimer back in 2020, the horse pretty much quits. And there's a lot of other speed in this race. So I'm kind of fading the public here and projecting him off the board going 4th. Nice. I think there's a good chance he could get beat to the spot. And if he does, then look out.
Yeah, I'm not winning with Unbroken Star. Unbroken Star was a runner-up in a kind of similar spot last we saw him. I actually like, just from a gambling standpoint in that race, I like the 2 as like a bet. Looking for revenge, I think is kind of interesting. You have Gray Magician, who ran in the Kentucky Derby. He's in there. Just kind of bizarre to look at, like, wow, he was in the Derby, and he's in that race for 25. You got Synthesis, who's going to take some money. He's dropping in class also. I mean, I don't think Unbroken Star has to win this race. I think 2, 3, 4 would be the spots that that I would go to. Chase is going off the board. I'm going second, but yeah, I just don't think he's the winner. And we're both landing kind of in that direction.
With what I saw yesterday, it seems like on the dirt that closers had a pretty fair shot. And so I thought French Getaway was probably your most likely winner in it.
Okay, let's talk about race number 8. That's question number 2 in the contest for Sunday. Who do you think is going to win race number 8?
Am I the only one who thinks that this pace is just going to be, I don't know, glacial, like just super slow? And if that's the case, then I want early speed, and I'm going to zig, and I'm not going to go with the more heavily favored early speed. I'm actually going to go to the 2 Builder.
Yeah.
To get out front and just wire this field for Doug O'Neill.
Builder would be, I wouldn't talk anybody off of Builder. I almost went in that direction for the reasons that you said. There just doesn't seem to be that much early lick in here, and Builder should give a great account of himself, take him as far as they can go. I went to the number 6, Liberal, who's actually, I feel like when I say it, I should say it like Liberal. Like I got to say it in that voice, was a runner-up last time out, and it's a horse who's just really consistent. This is a good spot, like a good level for Liberal. And Gonzalez is concerning to me, though, because he's had a couple opportunities on him, and he's had some tough trips, but I do feel like this is a really good spot for Liberal. It was sort of more like I'm 2-6, and then I didn't really love anybody else in here. So generally, when I'm in that direction, I probably kind of lean towards the horse who I think is going to be the bigger price. I felt like that might be Liberal in here, but Builder playing like late pick 4s or golden hour doubles or anything like that. I would want to use the horse that you mentioned too, Builder.
Absolutely.
So those are a couple of the races that we have to look at today for the Sunday contest. Let's jump into number 3, and this is just straight Rams -4.5, Bengals +4.5. Now, what's kind of cool about this for you and I is, we bet the Bengals to win the AFC and to win the whole thing. Yep. So we're in really great shape because we don't really have to play anything in a game like this. Like, we have our bets in for them. If the Bengals win, we've got them. I think you have them at 20-1. I have them at 18-1 to win the whole thing. Yep. I'm also a Rams fan. So it puts me in kind of a cool spot because I feel like either the team I root for is going to win or the Bengals, who I bet on, are going to win. I like teams that I root for, and I also like money. So that's not bad, Chase.
If the Rams lose, you can just dab your tears with $100 bills.
I was going to say,
oh, no. Oh, God.
Just wipe them as I'm crying.
Just living that Woody Harrelson gif.
So we broke this game down quite a bit yesterday, and I'm very glad that I bet the Bengals at this point. Burrow is got this, this might be a team of destiny. They're like floating. They're carrying this like energy, but if just breaking this game down individually, I had a really hard time with the matchup. I think it's just a really bad matchup for Cincinnati. I think there were just a few things I wanted to mention that all 3 of their playoff games, Cincinnati's been outgained by at least a half yard per play. Those 3 teams that they got outgained by were power ranked an average of 12. The Rams, their 3 games, they've outgained all 3 of their opponents by 1.24 yards per play against a tougher grouping of opponents. The Bengals have faced the number 1 or number 2 schedule of easiest defenses this year. They haven't faced a top 5 pass defense all year. Their last 14 starts, they've only played 1 top 10 pass defense. Their last 16 games, they've only played 4 defenses that have been league average or better. And in those games, Burrow got sacked 19 times. They might be in a situation where they're just a destined team. Things are breaking for them. I probably would want closer to 7 to get to to play the Bengals with the points. I think this probably should be a little bit more. That's why I lean Rams. And again, this is coming from someone who backed the Bengals to begin. I won't be upset if they win this game at all. I just had a hard time with the things that I look at for my handicapping. I feel like the Rams are going to really put a lot of pressure on them up front. And Burrow's going to have to be pretty close to perfect in his short passing game. I think dinking, dunking, a lot of stuff. Like that to me is the way they win. I think you're on the other side. Like I hate laying points like this, but I kind of got to why I'm on the Rams side there in this particular matchup. I feel like you've been on the other side, right? You're going to go Bengals here?
Yeah, I mean, like I said last night, I mean, I'll even probably take the Bengals on the money line because I like the view from this hill and I intend to die here. I think
hill. We're warm on it right now. We've already got what we needed after winning the AFC, so we're good to go, win or lose. But it's
I mean, yeah, I think Joe Mixon's going to be the X factor because I do think that LA is kind of licking their chops to try to get at Joe Burrow. And I think that might actually end up working against them, especially with the fact that the Bengals have had 2 weeks now to scheme for this game. That means they've got to either have a plan with pass protection or how to, whenever, the two ends come firing off the edge, to burn them with their aggressiveness. So that's what I'm hoping happens. I might be putting a little too much stock in Zach Taylor, but yeah.
And here is what's funny is we got to give him credit for getting here, right? And people kind of don't want to because he's been, you dig into their scheme and stuff. He's been very predictable, kind of bland with the way they do things. And a lot of it comes down to Burrow making fantastic plays. I believe Zach Taylor's 337 winning percentage during the regular season is actually the lowest of any coach in history to make the Super Bowl.
Do you think that if Zach Taylor wins, that Cincinnati will actually do you think they've already bought him a podium for his press conferences, or if they're waiting for after the Super Bowl for him to get that?
If you order it early, you get a discount on the balsa wood.
That makes sense.
So yeah, like I got a balsa guy.
Okay.
So they spoke with me already. There's an order put in for Taylor and the podium. They just didn't want it to get public, but now it's public. Look what you did. You broke the news.
I'm a regular Schefter.
Let's move along to the total in the game. Over under. This one is at 48.5 for the purposes of this contest. Which way are you leaning?
I'm with you. Under here. I think that defensively, I mean, one, you're going to run the risk that, yes, the Rams definitely are able to get to Joe Burrow, and he spends most of the game on his back, on his side, on his stomach, twisted into a pretzel, all of these things. And if that's the case, then you're going to have the Rams more than likely having to score all of those points. Now, the Bengals D, I mean, they're not much vaunted, but I think they can hold the Rams under 50 because that's an insane amount of points for an NFL game. I think you're going to see something in the 20s. Like a 21-24, 21-17 kind of range, honestly.
Yeah. I actually said, I think when we predicted the game last night, slightly under in the score. I think I had 27-21, like just under. And I think the way that I would be projecting that would be like the Rams were up like 27-14 and the Bengals kind of score a late touchdown. It was kind of, comfortable. I feel like there is going to be that. We always get it in the Super Bowl, a slow early first quarter, the feeling out process. These teams haven't played in a week. They haven't played in 2 weeks. Then they got all the hoopla, all the buzz. They're kind of tired. You know what I mean? Like right when you start, your body's kind of, it's like a weird, it's a different flow, a different schedule, the way the warm up is. Then the national anthem, it's like you come in, you warm up, then you go back to the locker room, then you kind of come back out. It's just different than everything you've done all year long.
Yeah, so you have to wait for Mickey Guyton to sing the national anthem, which, according to the bookmaker, should come in around 95 seconds.
I was going to say, and might have some cleavage. That's another one of the questions always is where will there be cleavage shown by the performers in the national anthem or at halftime. I'm under. We're both under here in the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. First touchdown scored. Is it going to be Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Higgins, Stafford, Cam Akers, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp, or other?
I feel like everyone is focusing way too much on the passing games, and I understand why. It makes sense. However, if you look at how the Rams play, if a running game isn't working, then that offense isn't working because you're not getting your defenders to lose eye discipline with all the fake jet sweeps, all the different play action that Stafford and that offense likes to do. So I wanted to lean towards either one of the running backs. And I mean, we talked about this last night. my idea of how the game flows is you have the Rams jump up early, you have the Bengals, come late. I am going to go with Cam Akers rushing for the first touchdown.
I would be I'm 1000% with you on the way you handicapped it. With the running backs, you always get much more of an opportunity for multiple ways to score because they can get it on a handoff, they can get it on a dump pass, on a screen pass.
Yep.
Now, so I would either be Akers, Mixon, or the one that I actually ended up on, and I went to other, mainly because with other, that includes Henderson and Sony Michel from the Rams, both running backs that could be there. That includes Van Jefferson, someone who I'm really high on as a possibility too. I kept talking about Van last night. That includes whoever the tight ends are, both of them. So even if it's Uzoma, Higbee, if it's the backup tight ends, either of them, they're all in the inclusion there with others. So those would be my three. I would either go Mixon, I would go Akers, or I would go other. And if you like one of the two of those backs more, go that way. But the backs to me, and to Chase, I like that handicap in that. Go for the backs, win or lose, because you feel like you just have more opportunity. And people probably in their heads are thinking more exciting wide receiver or quarterback stuff.
If I ever have a son, I'm going to take inspiration from Sony Michel and name him Sega Tiffany.
Comedy here with the Wolf of Oaklawn.
I bring it.
Okay, so which quarter is going to be the highest scoring quarter in the game, Chase?
Third. I went third. I think that you mentioned that there might be a little bit of like a feeling out period. These are two heavyweight boxers. They're going to just sit there and jab for the first few rounds. And I don't think the haymakers come into the third quarter. Once they get into the locker room, they make adjustments and they try to capitalize on something that they're seeing either from the defense or, from the offense. I think that you're going to see a ton of points in the third.
I went second. And it was going to be second or third. It won't be first and it wouldn't be fourth for me because I think both of them, like, the game you're playing is a little bit different, right? Like in the fourth games, you start playing in the fourth quarter. A lot of times you start playing against the clock. Right. You start trying to run it down. You start trying to not let the other team get a possession. I think the second quarter is when they'll probably both be the most loose and maybe the most comfortable. I'm a little worried about the third quarter for the same reason about the start of the game. You get the halftime show, maybe halftime's a little bit longer. Like you kind of start to get into your flow and then boom, now you're cold again, and it takes you a few minutes to get going. I'm going to key in on the second quarter for what I think is going to be the highest scoring quarter in the game for prop number 6. Were we up to for number 7? Okay, big, and this is interesting because this is in the last 2 weeks we've seen major contrast with the amount of sacks the Bengals have allowed. I say 2 games in their last weeks. I say in their last 2 games.
Sure.
2 games ago, against Tennessee, they allowed 9 sacks. Last week, against Kansas City, their offensive line wasn't great, but they changed the way they were playing. Joe Burrow adjusted really well. Everything was short, quick, out of his hand, and he would tuck it and run. He picked up back-to-back third down scrambles, first downs on runs because plays just broke down, and he was like, I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to tuck it and run. So I don't think – the Rams have an incredible defensive front. I was laying out earlier a lot of the things about them. You were hitting on last night. They've got 5 really good defensive linemen that can put pressure on. They're excellent. The way you kind of want to attack them is just throw the ball right over them, like kind of right around them and right over them. You don't really want to go deep. You probably won't have enough time to go deep. So I don't think we're going to get some absurd number of like 5 or more. And that doesn't even mean that there could be a few sacks and the Rams defensive line could still be crushing their offensive line, right? I just think that they're not going to let themselves get sacked that much. I think it's if we get a bunch of incomplete passes or short stuff that doesn't end up going far, I can see that happening more than I can see 8 to 10 sacks happening. Right. I just don't think Burrow's going to hold the ball that much. I think he's just going to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it'd be the Tom Brady thing of like 1-2 balls gone, sort of
short pass for the run game, right? And that's like your running game in some spots.
Yeah, and I mean that's schematically how you're going to beat a team that has this sort of offensive line, especially when you've got a defensive end like Von Miller who can run full speed, bent at the waist, under a table. Like you want to get away from that guy as quick as you can, and that's to get rid of that ball because that thing is attracts all sorts of unwanted attention. So I don't think he stays completely clean. I don't think he gets sacked a ton. I went 2.
Yeah, I went 4. I was going to be 2, 3, 4. There, like I wouldn't have gone higher than 4, and that's probably where I would have landed in that range because it just if you're Burrow, he made major adjustments last week, and you could tell it just wasn't the routes they were running to. They have to try to attack that part. It just makes all of the sense in the world for how to attack the Rams and what your weaknesses are also.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that really feels like it will play in 4 for me, 2 for the Wolf. As we get to number 8. Okay, this one is kind of fun. So we've got quarterback touchdown passes. We've got receptions for a couple receivers and then receptions for a couple backs. Which number do you think is going to be the highest?
I went with Joe Mixon receptions. The reason I went, I mean, we literally just talked about it for a couple of minutes of why I think it is. So I'm not going to beat that into the ground, but I think that the screen game is going to be prevalent in this game with their play calling. So Joe Mixon seemed like a pretty good little play.
Again, I narrowed this down to 3. Mixon receptions, Akers receptions, Boyd receptions. Now, those were the 3 for me. Van Jefferson, who I like, he's more of a deep threat guy. So he's probably not going to have 7 or 8 catches, right? 3 or 4 is probably what you'd get from Van on a good day. That he could still get 120 yards with that, but he's not a volume reception guy.
He's the next Deshaun Jackson, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's exactly who he is. And he may have games where he does nothing. He just runs fly routes the whole time and he just stretches the defense, right? And then he's not open. You don't even hit him at all. And then there's 2 games where he's open and he gets 2 touchdowns for 220 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
whereas Deshaun catches his 1 touchdown pass and calls it a season now. So he's got a younger, fresher Van Jefferson.
Zig around and do some weird cut that he did in that Raider game this year. It's like, what was that?
Right.
That
was that?
That was weird. And I don't think with the quarterbacks, I don't think we're the ceiling isn't high enough for me with either one of them. I don't think we're going to get 6 or 7, but we could absolutely get 6 receptions for Mixon, Akers, or Boyd.
Yeah.
Any of them. And dump offs and stuff like Mixon for sure. If the way we're handicapping this game also, we think it's going to have to be quick stuff, short stuff. So I ended up either going Mixon or Boyd. I went Boyd because I actually like of all of the receivers. I think, Boyd and Higgins for Cincy, I prefer more than Chase. I think they're going to really do their job to try to take Chase out of the game. Maybe he's so good that he can still break 1 or 2. But I think the focus and the guys that'll be open, I think the Rams are going to say, hey, we got to make Boyd beat us. We got to make Higgins beat us.
Yeah, Uzama if he plays. Yeah, absolutely.
Those are the guys that you got to let beat him. So I'm going Boyd receptions there in this one. Where do we go for number 9? Chase, tell us this one.
I was going to say, I know you went exactly the same place as I did. And we just talked about in the last one. It's Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson's the one who's going to take the top off of a defense if there's anybody out there. So, it would have to be catch and run for Cooper Kupp, less so for Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely Van Jefferson.
I mean, and when you dig into each one of them too, right? Boyd and Higgins, for what I was just saying, they're much more out of the slot, crossing route, short stuff receivers. Chase is the one that's going to really stretch it, but I'm worried about Chase with Ramsey on him.
Yep.
And then when you go to the Rams, their 3 receivers, they kind of are really set in their ways. You've got Cooper who can do everything, and you've got Van who's just a straight stretch it guy, and then you've got Odell who's now become I think we all still have a wrong perception of Odell in that we still kind of think he's the big play guy. That's not really who he is anymore. He's more of
he's a pretty precision route runner at this point, honestly.
Yeah, and his hands are fantastic. So know that he can make contested catches. He's pretty good there on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. Like that's where they've started to use him more. And it just, you got Kupp on the other side. Odell's one-on-one. He's open with someone, but he is a little bit, there's a little more mileage there now. He's not quite as fast as he used to be. That's the Van Jefferson. That's the role for Van. And he's just not as sexy of a pick. Like not many people are going to be as excited or want to pick Van in some of these props because he's just not as big of a name. And he makes the most sense here. I think I had the number, Van Jefferson has this year been targeted 49 times, 11 plus yards down the field.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense with especially how their plays develop. I mean, like I said, you got the fake jet sweeps, you got the fake handoffs. That's a lot of time for him to cover a lot of ground and get deep behind the secondary.
Okay, so Wolfie, just a couple more left for us. Shout out to everyone hanging out with us today. Remember, if you're watching this on Saturday morning, you still have a couple hours and you can play the Saturday contest also for free. We wanted to talk a little bit more about the Sunday contest, remind you about it. That way everyone's got plenty of time now, like 24 hours to get reminded and to get your contest props in, because a lot of you are probably already looking at some of this stuff. I'm sure many of you who are betting the Super Bowl or looking at props, you probably already handicapped a lot of these things. So you might as well come and get involved for free and see if you can take home the $500. Number 10. How many total field goals will be made in the Rams-Bengals game? So, McPherson, the Bengals kicker, is a freaking stud. He is an absolute machine. He's made 4 field goals in each of the first 3 playoff games for the Bengals. He's 12 for 12 in the playoffs, and he's perfect on his extra points. 4 field goals, though, like that's pretty absurd that he made 4 in 3 straight games.
Right. Yeah. And when you pick this, it really is going to come down to game flow and how you think the game is going to go. I don't know. I honestly see a few more punts, a couple of stalled drives. I went 3. It felt like a safe number, especially if I don't see just like a ton of points, but I still see touchdowns. That means I got to eliminate points somewhere. So 9 points off of field goals, maybe then that still might be a stretch. I think it could even go as low as 2, but I've settled on 3.
Yeah, I'm 3 or 4, and I ended up going on 4. And the only reason why I kind of lean 4 instead of 3 is because McVay is pretty conservative himself too. He's someone on like 4th and 2s, like on the 40, he'll kick a field goal. Like 4th and 2s and like the 35, he'll kick a field goal. And so he is one I think that is going to be just trying to get points on the board. Last time he was in the Super Bowl, they did not get many points on the board at all. So I think he'll probably take them in a few spots, but I'm not expecting 4 from the Bengals and multiple from the Rams. I'm thinking maybe two from the Bengals or 3, because they will sort of use him now like a weapon. And it makes sense when you have a guy who's that good of a field goal kicker. You understand that, oh, hey, let's take the 3 when we get it. It's just, you're not going to beat good teams that play well kicking that many field goals. They wouldn't have. Think about their 3 games they've won along the way to get here.
Yep.
They needed the Chiefs to have a miserable second half last week in order for that to work for them.
Right.
If the Chiefs come out and play well at all in the second half, those 4 field goals, we're not talking about the Bengals now, right here.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I think they got to be a little more aggressive, but yeah, 3, we're both in the same boat, 3 and 4 here for Chase and me for total field goals in the game. 2 more props to discuss. This one's pretty simple. Super Bowl MVP. And I just went chalky because, like we're saying, if I'm betting who's going to win the Super Bowl MVP, I'm not going to bet Matt Stafford because he's the favorite. I'd rather bet and have more fun betting a few 15, 20 to 1 shots, right? I think some of the MVPs that I locked in earlier in the week, I got a few bucks on Aaron Donald, Chase, Von Miller, Higgins, and Jefferson. I've got a little bit on all of them. But the quarterbacks have won 4 of the last 5, 9 of the last 12. And if you think the Rams are going to win, you probably want to go Stafford because he's the most likely MVP winner. There's a narrative out there. Stafford been in the Lions forever. Now he's with the Rams. His first year they win. I mean, it's all built in there. And if any of the receivers have big games, you can probably just use those same numbers for Stafford, if a couple touchdowns or whatever it is. One of the backs would have to have a great if the Rams win, it would have to be like I threw in Van. Van would have to have some monster numbers. Like Aaron Donald, he's getting a little too buzzy right now, maybe for me. I'm kind of worried that the Bengals are gonna do their best, just like we were saying with on the Rams side. Hey, like let's make Floyd or Miller or some of these other guys beat us more than Aaron Donald, right?
Sure.
Like let's make sure that he's not the guy getting in there over and over again. I ended up with the chalk here. I'm on Stafford.
If Joe Mixon doesn't do anything on Sunday, I'm going to just have a terrible Super Bowl viewing experience. I went Joe Mixon. I think he's the X factor in this game. He's not the chalk. I get if I can get this question right, then I've managed to beat a lot of the field.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I always feel like if I can build out a scenario in my head where I think it works, then I'll take the shot. And he'd probably be the first like running back like MVP since like either Emmitt Smith or Terrell Davis.
Number 12, very important stuff. Gatorade. What color? What color Gatorade is going to be dumped on the winning coach of the Rams-Bengals game? Are we going to get blue, orange, clear, or yellow, lime, green as one of them? Now, I did some very good investigative reporting and some research here. The 5 of the last 12 have been orange, but 2 of the last 3 have been blue. Now, there's really no rhyme or reason to the color scheme, right? Like it's very rarely based on their team colors.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because the Bengals are orange, feels like there's at least some possibility for them to have the orange there too, right? Because their color, their uniforms are that orange. So I think the Bengals at least have the orange, knowing that, I mean, let's be honest here. I think blue Gatorade stinks.
Right. Exactly.
Who wants to drink it?
No one.
And so I don't want that. And
if you don't drink a citrus flavored Gatorade, you're some sort of psychopath serial killer.
It's got to be orange or yellow, lime, green. Like the green Gatorade is the best Gatorade. It's undoubtedly. But the orange, I'm fine with the orange. Like I'm not gonna get upset about it. You know, it's not gonna offend me or anything. And I just feel like with the possibility of the orange for the Bengals, knowing that orange has kind of been the hot color a bit, I'm going orange there. It would have been orange or yellow, lime, green for me, Wolfie. It would have been one of those two.
Yeah, if there wasn't a team with one of its base colors being orange in it, I probably would have gone yellow, lime, green. Because like I said, if it's blue, you must be some sort of psychopath. If it's purple, I mean, God, who are you? If that point, if you're not drinking a crisp, refreshing citrus Gatorade, that I don't even want to know you. And there's too much coincidence with the jersey color. I'm going.
My mom, shout out to Mrs. McCullough. My mom would she's doing the wash a lot of the time, and there would be some of that like the stuff from the washing machine, like that's all the chemicals and stuff that could absolutely kill you, and it would kind of drain out. And she'd like put it in a cup, like a red Solo cup, and she'd be like, "Hey Gino, here's some blue Gatorade. You want some blue Gatorade?" I'd be like, "No, Mom, thanks for trying to murder me." And blue Gatorade sucks. So double no. That's a double no there.
You need to find a more appealing color of detergent if you wanted this to happen.
Try to trick me with like at least maybe you probably would have had a better chance maybe even with like urine trying to trick me with the yellow green, because I would have been more enticed by the yellow lime green than the blue Gatorade. So that's just me though. And that's, that's what I'm thinking here. And it's only because I like that I'm thinking of Dodgeball, Patches O'Houlihan. This is a great movie, but
because I like the taste.
Because that's sterile and I like the taste. So, Chase, we were laughing at the beginning and we're laughing here at the end. Man, this is a great weekend. This is an awesome sports weekend.
Yeah,
Super Bowl Sunday is a ton of fun. It's an event. It's like a holiday in our country now in the U.S. I mean, everybody's watching the game. Everybody's kind of got a take on either a commercial or the halftime show or the the national anthem or something. Everybody's in parties and having fun. And we got to keep working on soon getting that Monday after like a national holiday too. That way everybody doesn't have to go in. But really cool weekend. Lots of great stuff. And good luck to you, my friend. You sniffed out the Bengals very early. You even got a slightly better number than I was able to get. So I hope you get your score there. And
thank you.
It is kind of fun just overall to have a couple teams that we haven't seen here in a while, right? Like the Rams, these aren't the same teams over and over. Even the Rams, who we did see recently, it's not the same group. It's, they've Stafford and Odell is here, and they've got different faces. So
it's something to be said for salary caps, right?
No, you're right. It shows you how hard it is in the NFL to stay good. Yep. It's really hard to win. They weight the schedules and everything. Don't forget, as you fill out these each time, it'll give you a little alert. So it'll tell you once your pick has been made. I don't want to get on blue Gatorade, though. I'm going to get right off of that. I was just showing you.
I can't believe you even clicked on that as an example, quite honestly.
I got the EBGBs all the way through me as I did. And don't forget, fill out the tiebreaker. In this case, it is total yards. Every single Saturday and every single Sunday, they have one of these. And now as the NFL season winds down, we will transition to having a lot more NBA, college basketball, NHL props, knock on wood, in a month or two, hopefully baseball, but it doesn't look good at the moment. Wolfie, you and I like to play a lot of baseball. Not looking great. Not looking great right now.
Not looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if we end up getting there. Good luck, my friend. Thank you so much. Hope you crush it this weekend. And anyone, if you're watching this now and you want a little more Super Bowl analysis, we have a big preview show a little bit later on today at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. If you give us a follow at BTV Bets on Twitter, we're going to have our entire Better Than Vegas crew jumping in, sharing props, sharing their analysis on the games. I think we've got everybody set 7 to 7:15. Then the next crew comes on for about 20 minutes, and then the next crew comes on. So you'll get a ton of different opinions and a lot of analysis. I hope everyone out there has an awesome weekend. Good luck in the Super Bowl. Get to pick'em.santanita.com. Wolfie, my friend, you crush it this weekend.
You too.